You're not here by chance. Something deep within you led you to this video at this very moment. And once you've reached the end, you'll understand why. There are moments in life when you feel a presence nearby, even though no one is physically around you. A soft warmth in your chest, a chill that isn't from the cold, a sudden wave of peace in the middle of chaos. You don't look for it, you don't try to explain it, but it's there, as if someone is silently watching over you from a realm beyond your sight. It doesn't always come with signs you can touch or name, but when your soul begins to awaken, this presence starts revealing itself in subtle ways, as if it's been patiently waiting for the exact moment to make itself known. The first sign appears when you start to notice small synchronicities that repeat themselves with no logical explanation. You see the same numbers over and over again. Mirror hours, repeating sequences. You receive messages at the perfect moment. Lyrics from songs speak directly to your heart, as if written just for you. And even if you try to ignore it, deep down, a part of you knows these aren't mere coincidences. They're a form of communication. This isn't superstition or fantasy. It's an energetic language, one that doesn't rely on words, but on frequencies. For those who are awake, those frequencies are unmistakable, clear, precise. Your spiritual angel doesn't shout, it whispers. And to hear that whisper, you don't need long prayers or elaborate rituals. What you need is presence, awareness, and openness to receive. Because the realm in which your angel moves is not one of words, it is one of intuition. And when your energy begins to align with theirs, the connection becomes stronger, more frequent, more natural. That's when you begin to understand that you're not imagining things. You're starting to remember. You don't need to see wings or hear a voice to know it's there. Your body senses it before your mind can understand. There's a lightness in the atmosphere, a sweetness that doesn't come from anything outside of you, a feeling of companionship that doesn't require physical presence. It's as if something wraps around you with invisible tenderness, a loving energy that asks for nothing in return, but simply wishes to be with you. And that feeling doesn't always come when everything is calm. Sometimes it shows up in the middle of confusion, at a moment of surrender, when you don't know what else to do. And suddenly, for reasons you can't explain, you feel that everything is going to be okay, even though nothing external has changed. That's not coincidence. That's an energetic intervention, a subtle way of saying, you're not alone, keep going. Often, this communication comes in the form of gentle but persistent intuitions, a thought that appears out of nowhere, a silent warning that urges you to change direction, a sudden impulse that leads you exactly to where you need to be. These aren't ordinary thoughts. They're messages encoded in sensation, translated through your inner perception. Your angel doesn't interrupt your journey. It walks beside you, shining light. And when it communicates, it does so in a way that only you can recognize, because that connection is unique, intimate, sacred. There are moments when you feel inexplicably protected, as if something invisible has stepped between you and whatever could have harmed you. A sudden change in direction, a decision made for no apparent reason that turned out to be exactly what was needed. These things aren't simple coincidences. They're subtle interventions, guided from a realm that sees far beyond what your eyes can perceive. And all of it happens not because you ask, but because you allow it. Because without realizing it, your energy has opened itself to the invisible. And that opening is enough for communication to begin. not as an external voice imposing itself on you, but as a familiar presence that has always been there. The only difference is, now you're finally beginning to hear it. And that hearing doesn't happen through your ears. It happens in your body, in your chest, in the quiet way a soft certainty settles into your being without warning. You don't need to be in deep meditation to feel it. It can happen while walking, doing something mundane, or even in the midst of one of your hardest moments. Because spiritual angels don't only show up when everything is peaceful. They appear exactly when you need them most, without you having to ask. Have you noticed how certain decisions that once filled you with doubt now feel clearer? As if a wiser, quieter part of yourself is guiding you without explanations. That's part of your angel's language. It doesn't give you reasons, it gives you direction. And you follow that direction not because you understand it, but because it feels undeniably true. Sometimes there are even physical sensations, unexpected yet gentle. A light pressure in your chest, a warmth across your back, a breeze where there is no wind. And though your mind searches for explanations, your soul already knows. It's being touched by something that doesn't belong to this world, but has chosen to be here with you in this one. Your spiritual angel isn't here to save you. It's here to remind you of your strength, to walk beside you, not to carry your weight. And each time it communicates, it's not to give you answers, but to help you remember that the answers have always been within you. This guidance does not control, it supports. It doesn't interfere with your choices. It illuminates the paths your soul is already ready to walk. And when you acknowledge this, when you stop doubting this connection, the relationship becomes clearer, more constant, more alive. Because the spiritual world doesn't require proof. It requires openness. And you, deep down, have already begun to open. The second sign is when you begin to receive repetitive symbolic messages that resonate with you in a deeply personal and emotional way. These are not isolated coincidences that randomly appear in your life. They are patterns, precise and persistent, echoing through your experiences so clearly that something inside you knows they have meaning. You start seeing the same word in different places. You dream of an image and then encounter it in real life. Or certain animals cross your path during key moments. Numbers appear again and again with uncanny precision, to the point where calling them coincidences no longer feels honest. These signs aren't coming from the outside in the way we usually think. They move through a subtle channel, a spiritual current that your guardian angel uses to reach you. This presence doesn't impose or interrupt your journey, but walks alongside it, offering signs and synchronicities to accompany you. You might not always grasp their full meaning in the moment, but you feel them, and that feeling is enough. Your soul recognizes a more ancient language, one that doesn't rely on logic, but on vibration, on energy, on intuition. Sometimes it's a single word, overheard at just the right moment, that strikes you deep within, as if the universe whispered it only to you. Other times, it's a phrase that finds you when you're on the verge of giving up, or a book, a song, or a number that appears just when you most needed confirmation of something your heart already knew. These aren't coincidences, they're communication. Your spiritual guide is speaking through your surroundings. What once seemed ordinary now becomes sacred. Everyday life becomes a vehicle for the divine. And as you grow more present, more connected with the unseen world, you begin to notice those signals, not with surprise, but with gratitude. You no longer need validation from others. You just know. You understand, without a doubt, that you're being guided, that those small, silent signs aren't meant to amuse or distract you, but to remind you that a loving force is with you, walking beside you, communicating in symbols, because symbols are the language of the soul. Over time, you stop trying to analyze every message with your rational mind. It's no longer about decoding each symbol like a puzzle. The purpose of these signs isn't to give you quick answers. It's to awaken something within you. A forgotten memory, a dormant sensitivity, a quiet certainty that begins to grow even without explanation. The message isn't just in the symbol, it's in the way it resonates in you, in the way you pause when you notice it, in how your body reacts, in how something within you goes still for a brief moment, as if that symbol touched a hidden string that hadn't vibrated in years. These repetitions aren't for entertainment. They are anchors, anchors to help you remember that you are seen, that you are being watched over from a plane of pure love. This guidance is constantly at work, hidden within what appears to be the ordinary. When your awareness becomes more open and receptive, randomness begins to fade. Everything transforms into a potential message. Anything can become a sign. In those moments, your relationship with reality begins to shift. You no longer see the world as a random, disconnected place, but as a symbolic field, where spirit communicates through the subtle, through the invisible, through the things you used to overlook. It's a conversation without a voice, but full of meaning. A conversation that occurs every time your attention aligns with your energetic perception. Your angel isn't testing you. It's reminding you how to feel beyond what is obvious. And when you respond to those signs with presence, when you allow yourself to believe in what resonates even without visible proof, the connection deepens. The symbol stops being an isolated event. It becomes a confirmation. And you stop being a mere observer. You become an active participant in the dialogue, an awakened soul, ready to receive what once went unnoticed. Third sign. You begin to experience a sudden, inexplicable peace at the exact moments when everything around you suggests you should feel the opposite. You're going through something difficult. Maybe you're facing uncertainty, tension, emotional pain, or the weight of an unresolved situation. And suddenly, without any logical explanation, something inside you quiets down. It's not because things have magically worked out on the outside, but because something profound has shifted within you. That peace you're feeling, it's not emotional in nature. It's not the result of some mental trick, positive thinking, or a strategy you applied. It's something much deeper. It's a presence, a gentle, embracing energy that doesn't need to make an announcement to be felt. It simply is, and it fills you in a way that nothing else can. It's the way your spiritual guide, your angel, holds you. This presence doesn't remove the burden from your shoulders, but it makes it lighter. It doesn't take you out of the experience, but it walks beside you through it. And you feel it. You recognize it. Because in the middle of a moment that would normally overwhelm you, something keeps you grounded. Something keeps you centered, present, and somehow anchored to a part of yourself that you didn't even know existed. That center you've discovered, it's not just yours. It's shared. It's a sacred space, an energetic meeting point where your soul connects with its guide. There are no words exchanged, no promises made, just a deep, silent assurance that somehow, in some way, everything will be okay, even if you have no idea how that could possibly be. Sometimes this peace shows up only after you've completely surrendered, after you've run out of options, after your strength is gone, after your mind has stopped trying to control what it cannot. And instead of spiraling into despair, you find yourself breathing deeply, seeing things with a new clarity that you didn't expect. That clarity, that breath, that peace, it isn't coming from you alone. It's your angels surrounding you with a different frequency. It's tuning your being into a realm where fear loses its grip, where the only vibration strong enough to remain is trust. A trust you didn't learn, but one that was given to you. And when that peace enters you, you don't need to analyze it. You don't need to explain it or even understand it. You simply allow yourself to be filled by it. Because even if your mind still doesn't have the answers, your soul has already been touched by something far greater than anything you can explain. Something that holds you, not through logic, not through thought, but through a deeper, wiser, more loving vibration. Sometimes this feeling of serenity comes with an inner stillness, a sacred pause that you couldn't achieve on your own, no matter how much you tried. You're not running from the problem. You're not pretending it doesn't hurt. You're being held, supported from a realm you cannot see, yet surrounds you with a pure intention. Don't break. Remember your center. This is one of the most subtle and beautiful ways your angel speaks to you. They don't have to appear before your eyes to make their presence known. They do it through silence, the kind that makes room for breath, for stability, for listening. Because without that silence, you'd miss the message beneath the noise. And in those moments, something inside you finds balance. What once felt like a chaotic storm now feels manageable. Not because the chaos disappeared, but because you have changed. Your internal state has shifted. Your field has been touched by a higher energy, and everything that this energy touches begins to rearrange itself in a new, more harmonious way. This is not some external miracle swooping in to fix things. It's a loving presence, awakening the strength already within you. It's reminding you of the power that lives inside you, the part of you that fear made you forget. And after living through something like that, after feeling that inexplicable peace, you know it wasn't just in your head. You know something or someone was with you. And even if you can't describe it perfectly, even if the words never come out quite right, there's a mark left on your chest, a vibration that lingers, a wordless whisper that somehow told you without ever speaking a word, I'm with you. The fourth sign is when you begin to notice an unusual energetic sensitivity when you're in certain places or near certain people. Your perception becomes sharper, more refined, as if your body were functioning like a spiritual radar. Without any clear reason, you feel peace in places where you never had before, or discomfort in spaces that seem completely normal. It's not something you can explain rationally. It's something you just know. Your intuition activates without asking for permission. And it happens because your spiritual guide is helping you refine your field, helping you recognize which energies strengthen you and which ones drain you. This connection doesn't give you concrete instructions. It offers perception, a sensitivity that doesn't come from thought, but from alignment with more subtle realms. Your body starts reacting differently. There are places where you can breathe more deeply, and people who make you feel at ease, as if something invisible is affirming you, telling you, yes, this is right. And then there are other times when your energy contracts without any clear reason. You just know you're not supposed to stay there. That invisible guidance isn't here to impose limits, but to help you recognize for yourself what resonates with your path and what no longer vibrates with you. What you used to tolerate without thinking now feels heavy. What once went unnoticed now hits you strongly. And that shift isn't random. It's a response to the subtle presence of your angel, who, without words or visible signs, is training you to listen more with your soul than with your senses. This sensitivity isn't a burden, it's a tool, and it's one of the most delicate yet powerful ways in which the spiritual world teaches you how to protect your energy and walk with more clarity, more lightness, more truth. At first, this new sensitivity may confuse you. You ask yourself why you feel exhausted in certain places, why some people make you feel uneasy, even though they haven't done anything noticeable. But over time, you understand that it's not judgment, it's perception. Your energy system is beginning to respond with greater accuracy to what your soul already knew, long before you did. Your spiritual angel isn't here to change your environment. They're here to prepare you to move through it with greater awareness. They do so not by changing what you see, but by refining what you feel. Every time you pay attention to that subtle language, you strengthen the connection. Every time you honor what you perceive, the guidance becomes clearer. You don't need external signs to confirm what you already know within. But when you ignore it, something inside you dims. When you listen, something inside you expands. And that expansion shows up in simple but powerful choices. You step away from what disturbs your peace, even if you can't explain why. You gravitate toward what nourishes your energy, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You begin to choose with your soul, not your mind. And each choice, guided by that sensitivity, brings you closer to your truth. That's a quiet, yet constant way your spiritual angel walks with you, not by solving things for you, but by teaching you to feel from a higher plane. And when you learn to trust that perception, life begins to organize itself around what truly resonates with you, without effort, without explanation, just from the coherence of your highest frequency. That coherence begins to show in everything you do. Without realizing it, you change the way you speak, the kinds of conversations you're willing to have, even the silences you choose to respect. You're no longer interested in what's superficial, because your refined energy starts seeking depth in everything. Your angel doesn't tell you what to do. They help you remember what you already knew, but had forgotten under the weight of the noise. And as you respond to that guidance, your inner world finds order. You no longer need external validation, because there is an inner clarity that grows every time you honor what you feel. That energetic sensitivity doesn't just protect you, it also connects you with other souls who vibrate like you do. You start crossing paths with people who understand you without the need for explanations, who sense the invisible the same way you do. And suddenly, you no longer feel strange or alone or out of place. Because when a soul starts listening to its field and allows itself to be guided by the unseen, life changes its tone entirely. Everything becomes softer, clearer, truer. Your spiritual angel doesn't walk ahead of you, they walk beside you. And every time you choose to honor that sensitivity you've been given, you strengthen that bond. A bond that isn't measured in words, but in vibration, and one that stays with you, even when you don't think about it, even when you forget. Because in the most subtle realms, love doesn't need to be remembered in order to remain. The fifth sign appears when you begin to feel a profound connection with something greater while you're in silence. It's not just the absence of noise, it's a presence that emerges the moment you stop doing, when the outside world dims for a while and something within you starts to awaken. It can happen when you're alone, surrounded by nature, or even during a brief pause in your daily routine. Suddenly, without seeking it, a soft warmth fills your being. There are no thoughts, no explanations, just a feeling of completeness that doesn't come from anything you can see. That sensation isn't created solely by you. It's your spiritual angel drawing near. It's their way of saying, "I'm here," in the space that appears when you allow yourself to pause. In that state, time seems to stop. Your breath shifts, your mind calms, and for a moment, you feel that everything is exactly where it's meant to be. There's no need for anything to get better. Nothing is missing, nothing is extra. You're simply present, entirely whole. In those moments, the bond becomes clearer, more tangible, not because something extraordinary happens, but precisely because nothing does. And in that emptiness, full of presence, the connection deepens. Your spiritual angel doesn't need to speak to be heard. They communicate with your soul through silence, because only there can they reach what words can't touch. And when you learn to dwell in that space with humility, without demands or expectations, their guidance becomes more constant, more luminous, more yours. It's not about meditating or forcing a state of awareness. It's about opening your heart to what's already there, waiting to be seen, without noise, without haste, with reverence. Because in truth, that silent peace isn't something that comes from you. It comes toward you. And each time you allow yourself to step into that space, you're saying yes. Yes to the connection. Yes to the guidance. Yes to the invisible love that's been with you long before you knew how to name it. That yes you give in silence doesn't need to be spoken. It's an opening that's felt more than thought, a kind of energetic agreement your soul instantly recognizes. And every time you do it, every time you surrender to that stillness, the bond grows stronger. Not because the presence increases, but because you become more able to perceive it. There are days when closing your eyes for just a few seconds is enough, and you feel that connection once again. There's no need to ask, to seek, or to understand. You just have to be there, in what's already happening, effortlessly, because your communication with your angel isn't something you build, it's something you remember. And in the silence, you remember everything. The mind may forget, the body may doubt, but your energy knows. It knows that this presence is real, that the whisper isn't imagination, that this moment of stillness isn't emptiness, it's communion. And from there, without needing external signs, you begin to feel guided in all things, not because life becomes easier, but because you become deeper, more connected to your essence, more attuned to the frequency of what's walking with you. Silence transforms into wordless prayer, into a bridge between realms, into a space where the divine doesn't appear as something distant, but as something that lives in you, through you, beside you. And it is there, in the simplest things, where the most sacred truths are revealed. Your spiritual angel doesn't need grand signs to speak to you. They just need you to learn how to listen when no one else is listening. 6th sign. You begin to notice that your thoughts, emotions, or words are gently redirected towards something more aligned, without knowing exactly how it happens. You're about to say something that doesn't resonate with you, and you stop. You're about to make a decision based on fear, but something within you, without clear reason, nudges you to wait. There is no external voice, no clear instruction, but an internal pause shifts your direction. That isn't random, it's subtle intervention. It's your spiritual angel influencing your mental frequency, not to control you, but to remind you of your center. You start noticing that thoughts which used to dominate you now lose their grip quickly, as if a deeper current were correcting your path without any effort on your part. You're aware, and it doesn't feel like control. It feels like guidance, a guidance that protects you, tunes you, doesn't interfere, but brings you back again and again to your truth. There are days when you notice you're acting with more compassion, more patience, more presence, without having planned it. It simply emerges as if a higher part of you, constantly connected to your angel, takes the lead gently for a few moments. That influence doesn't override your will. It elevates it. It reminds you of who you are when you're not caught up in the noise. It brings you back to your original frequency, not through effort, but with subtlety. And the more you allow yourself to follow that flow, the more natural it becomes. Your energy adjusts, your words grow more thoughtful, your presence more aware, because that connection isn't trying to change you from the outside. It's helping you remember who you are from the inside. And when you start living from that place, from that cleaner frequency, everything around you begins to respond differently. The situations that used to disturb you no longer hold the same power over you. Not because you've developed a mental strategy, but because something greater is acting with you, surrounding you, guiding you. You realize that this gentle redirection doesn't happen just once. It happens constantly. In the small gestures, in the fleeting thoughts, you now choose not to feed. In the way you now choose to respond instead of react. And it's not always you making that shift consciously. There's something beside you, holding your field when you can't, reminding you again and again that your soul knows the way. Your spiritual angel isn't here to correct you. It's here to help you remember. And it does so without punishment, without guilt, with immense sweetness, as if everything about it were made of infinite patience. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand. You're simply met at the exact point where your energy begins to soften and your awareness opens to reunion. It's like an inner dance. Sometimes you step in the wrong direction, and something soft, almost imperceptible, brings you back, not with force, but with a whisper, not with fear, but with truth. And once you've felt that movement more than once, when you recognize that presence surrounding you silently, you no longer doubt. You know you're not thinking differently by chance. You know you're not healing alone. There is something, someone, walking with you from the most subtle plane, simply to remind you that you don't have to do it all alone, simply to return you, again and again, to what you truly are. The seventh sign appears when you begin to feel a deep sense of gratitude that arises without any apparent reason. It's not the kind of gratitude that comes when things go well, nor the one you feel after receiving something you were hoping for. This is a quiet gratitude with no external trigger. Something within you suddenly opens up and says thank you, without words, without logical reason, without needing anything more. This kind of gratitude doesn't come from the mind. It isn't a thought or something you construct. It's a vibration flowing from the soul, awakened by a loving presence that gently surrounds you. And that presence is your spiritual angel. It shows up in the middle of everyday life. A walk, a glance at the sky, a moment where the world pauses just long enough for you to feel that everything makes sense, even if you can't explain it. And in that moment, all that emerges is a breath, a warm sensation that radiates from the center of your chest through your entire being. You don't need to be at peace to feel it. Sometimes it shows up during hard times, when everything feels uncertain, and yet something within you lights up, as if part of you knows that despite it all, you are being held, guided, and loved from a place you cannot see. But you can feel it as real as anything else in this life. This kind of gratitude asks for nothing. It just expresses itself. And when it does, it transforms you. Your eyes soften, your heart expands, and you understand that this feeling doesn't come from anything you've achieved, but from something you're remembering, that you're not alone, that you never were. And that gratitude starts to shift your energy without you needing to do anything at all. It's not an action, it's a state, a silent openness to the unseen, a way of telling the spiritual world, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm ready. No matter what you're facing on the outside, when that gratitude appears, it transforms everything from within. What was heavy becomes lighter. What was confusing becomes clearer. What was painful becomes more bearable. Because the presence of your spiritual angel doesn't erase the process, but it illuminates it. And in that gentle, subtle, quiet light, a form of thankfulness is born, one that has no cause, because it's older than any circumstance. Over time, this gratitude becomes constant. It begins to walk with you, even through the unexpected. It doesn't remove pain, but it reminds you that you're not falling alone, that there's an invisible net holding you, a whisper with every step, a frequency that wraps around everything, even when you don't realize it. And that frequency is love. Not romantic or emotional love, but love as pure energy, as protective consciousness, as eternal presence. Gratitude then becomes the language you begin to use to communicate. You don't need to ask. You don't need to understand. Just give thanks from that inner space where the soul recognizes guidance and honors it, without noise, without spectacle. Just you, your angel, and that sacred bond that doesn't need to be seen to be real. Not every message arrives with words. Some arrive as calm, as intuition, as gratitude that rises for no reason. And when you start to feel all of that, it's not that something new is happening, it's that you're finally listening. Your spiritual angel doesn't speak from outside. It reminds you from within. And now that you recognize it, the bond becomes impossible to deny. If this message resonated deep within you, if you felt something light up while you were listening, don't ignore it. It's your soul responding to a truth that has always been there. Subscribe to Whispers of the Soul. Keep walking this path of connection, awareness, and light. You didn't come here to learn something new. You came to remember what your soul already knew.